This is Jalen, my legal warrior, and today we have Mikhak Ghorban, who is a partner at Ashtari and Ghorban LLP. She's located in Rancho Bernardo. She's appearing today on our new series, No Lives Matter Unless. She is licensed to practice law in California for the past 14 years, originally from Iran, but has lived most of her life in San Diego. Mikhak works with families both in the US and abroad to obtain legal immigration status. She is a mother of two, and in the community, she's a VP of Community Concerns with Palomar Council PTA of Poway Unified School District. She's also a new board member of the Women of Color in the Law and very involved with the Lawyers Club of San Diego and Iranian American Bar Association in San Diego. Hi, Mikhak, how are you?
Thank you for having me, and I love how you're able to pronounce my name.
And I was actually just thinking like, oh, should I say it the way that I want to say it, or should I say it the way that like other people don't know how to pronounce it?
I love it. I always know when someone knows me well, or if they say Miha, or when they say Mikhak, I go, oh. So thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you for appearing today. I'm definitely looking forward to your responses as to how we can inspire, educate, and empower our viewership to effectuate a positive change, which leads me to my first question, which is, how are you using your business and or socioeconomic status to fight against systemic racism?
Wow, that's a good question. Thank you for an easy one. I think probably you can chime in on this as well. Being a Middle Eastern woman and practicing immigration law, I have to be open to different cultures, races, heritage. I mean, it's just part of the practice, but it also becomes an issue with immigration when trying to help families depending on where they're coming from and which visas apply to them and which rules and regulations prevent them from coming to the US. And I think be well enough to know that one of my passion projects or one of my biggest interests is making sure that people vote. I think coming from Middle East where voting was always so available. And if women were ever allowed to vote, it doesn't always count. And your vote is not always free. You're not always able to do or choose the person or the group or the association you want. So having that opportunity in the US is amazing to me. I'm blessed to be a US citizen to be able to vote. And I take that very seriously. And I take my children with me and, they get stickers. But I want them to know that it's part of their responsibility as a citizen to participate. And I think when you vote, or you're educated and you learn of the individuals running for specific positions, you vote, that also helps with making systemic changes because you get the right people in those positions. And if they look like you and they believe in the things you do, even better.
Yeah, I definitely love that. And actually, you're one of the first guest speakers to mention how important voting is in our society, especially even on a local level.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of the Americans actually vote on a local level. I mean, I don't know the statistics, but I've always just known, okay, the presidential elections, and that's what I need to vote for, and that's it. But being that I am an attorney and with my legal education, I know that there's more to it than just that. And so I also encourage people around me to do that. And it's great that you take your kids to also be a part of that process to kind of get them into it. And hopefully it'll just come natural to them and they won't even have to think about like, oh, okay, I don't need to go vote because my vote doesn't count. A lot of people do
exactly
that. And it's unfortunate reality. And coming from a Middle Eastern culture and background, I mean, it is amazing that we are able to have a voice in that regard, and it helps.
Absolutely. Not only to have a voice as Middle Easterners, but also I want to make sure my daughter never felt like, oh, okay, well, my husband can vote for me, or, I don't need to vote. Yes, you do. Every single person, my son needs to be able to participate.
Well, I appreciate you mentioning that, and I think that's a wonderful response, especially during this climate. And since you are a immigration attorney, I did want to touch on what kind of tips can you give to those who have pending green card applications and are abroad during COVID-19?
How long do you have? Immigration questions are very, it depends. There's your legal answer. It depends. It's a difficult time right now, I think, when you're, not only when you're in the US, but also when you're abroad. Green card holders, or people in practice, attorneys will call it having legal permanent residency, but for most purposes, it's having a green card. You can obtain it either through family or through work. Obviously, family is always a more secure route. However, it tends to take the longest. And depending on the administration or the type of laws that are passed, the categories change, or the, just recently a proclamation was signed that extended certain individuals who couldn't come, and then also became more restrictive on employers bringing in employees from abroad. So all of those, there's a lot of different factors, but if it's always important, especially these days, to do work with an attorney. These are not difficult forms to obtain a visa, but the nuances, if they're missed, you don't have time. And once an application is denied, it makes it very difficult to go back to file again. That's all I can tell them is wait. Make sure that, if you want a tip, is just to make sure, if you are working with an attorney, to listen to what they ask for. Make sure you provide the documentation they need. If you're doing this on your own, provide as much information as you possibly can, because you don't want the consulate to constantly return, if they ever respond to you, say this is missing, this new form is missing, and then you have to go back and provide that information to them. So the more complete your file is, the better. But right now you just have to be patient, because depending on the consulate that you're in, the type of visa that you have, you're going to be waiting for a while.
And if our viewership wanted to get a hold of you to talk about these complications, or to even further the discussion about systemic racism, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, typing my name, it's pretty, I think there's only one of me. So my name is Mikhak Ghorban. Website, email, and phone is always best.
Well, thank you so much, Mikhak, for being a part of No Lives Matter Unless. I definitely learned a lot just from listening to you today, and I look forward to collaborating in the future. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I always enjoyed talking with you.